Hi, how's it going? This is Resident of Collinwood for YouTube, and if you can't hardly hear me, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble talking right now. Um, I'm here to give my Halloween franchise ranking, post Halloween kills, so here I'll go. You know, what is a ranking? For me, this is how I judge a ranking: story, plot, concept. That's how I judge a shit. Okay. So, what movie is the low man on the totem pole, so to speak? Um, 2018. I know a lot of people aren't going to like that answer, but to me it is. Look, directly sequeling John Carpenter's Halloween should not have been this hard. It should not have been this difficult or complex or complicated. Hell, the original Halloween 2 does a better job than this movie by far. Um, you know, don't get me wrong, the movie is beautifully scored by John Carpenter, but I'm not one of these people who sit here and judge by the score of scores. I don't go, oh, the score is this pretty. No, your story is what makes me interested. You know, my biggest, again, I'm also judging on continuity. Continuity wise, this movie fucking shits the bed at times, and its biggest continuity issue is Laurie Strode itself. Um, there's times 2018 has trouble deciding what it wants to be. It can't seem to decide whether it honestly doesn't want to be the sister connection or does want to be the sister connection. They have literally a brand new character, Allison, played by Andy Matichak, clearly tell you this is not the sister connection. Yet Laurie Strode, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, still acts like Laurie Strode's sister at times in this movie, like she knows in the back of her hand. Here's the issue with this. Keep in mind, this is supposed to be a direct sequel to the first one, only the first one. 40 years ago, Michael and Laurie didn't know each other. 40 years ago, Laurie didn't know who was after her. She didn't know who was underneath that mask. That's the thing. That's my biggest fucking issue with this movie is it's the more I watch it, the more pissed I get at its lack of continuity. And it's hard to believe that the same two people who wrote this movie wrote Halloween Kills. Now, Scott Teems wrote Halloween Kills too, so I'm wondering how much Teems was responsible for Kills and not so much McBride and Green. Um, I do think at the end of the day, the biggest issue I have with this movie overall, with not just its continuity, is what it could have been, and that's really what pisses me off. There was some psychology in this movie, but not enough for me. My favorite scene in this movie is actually Laurie sitting there waiting for the prisoner transport bus because there's a scene where she closes her eyes and she sort of sees Michael walking toward her. And she, to me, at that moment, she's wondering, why us? Why me? Why my friends? What did we do? All these years later, and I don't mind that. Again, if this is going to be a revenge story, then base it on off of a revenge story. But there's things they could have done more too. They could have had her visit the grave of Bob, Linda, and Annie. They don't. I'm sure she has in her time, but again, we don't see that in this film. Laurie makes this about her family, about Michael's coming for me and my family, just like in the sister connection. It's like, again, this movie has trouble deciding what it wants to be. And really, what Kills does is fucking hip fires at this very concept. They say, nope, he was never after you. He was never just after your family. Even Allison says that in Kills. And here's my biggest issue with 2018 too. It takes them a full year to get Allison, Andy Matichak's character, across in Kills. It should not have taken them a full year. They should have did it in this film here by having Michael stalk the shit out of her and making you feel sorry for her by the end of this film, not Kills. It should not have taken a full year for them to get the character across. Ask yourself this. Okay, this is a sequel to John's Halloween, right? So did it take John Carpenter a full fucking year to get the character of Laurie Strode across, or did by the end of the 1978 movie, hey, the character's across? I rest my case. David Gordon Green is no John Carpenter, and do not accuse him of being one, because I will literally fucking unfriend you fast. Like, seriously. This literally, I hate this movie. The more I watch it, the more I just can't believe that this has anything to do with the movie I just saw. Um, I think Kills just did a better job. Kill, again, I'm going to talk about Kills, but I'll get there. But the lowest man on the totem pole is 2018. It just had the continuity was not great. There's characters I like. I like Hawkins, which they ended up letting him live, thank God. But now I've talked about the Sartain heel turn. I don't mind it. I just hated the way it was done. I felt they should have did that a different way. Again, there's scenes in this movie that had a lot of potential that they just did not do for me. For me. So, um, next is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Again, it's going off his first one. My biggest issue with this movie is, again, and maybe this is just an in general issue. I never saw the point of them sequeling Rob's one other than it made money, simply because Rob had already pointed out that Laurie was Michael's sister, and so now they're making a whole nother movie just to tell you her name. And I just didn't see the point in that. Now, I will say this movie does have some decent psychology to it, because you could debate whether Laurie is the killer or Michael's the killer, depending on how you look at the movie. So I will give Rob. Now, I'll say this. In Rob's 2 and even in Rob's 1, which is going to be the next film I discuss, the cinematography in his movies is better than the one in 2018. So Rob Zombie knows how to shoot a movie better than David Gordon Green. That's saying something. My biggest issue, again, with Kills is, though, too, is I don't mind the white horse. I get what they're going for, My biggest issue with Kills is it didn't feel necessary. It's just like, I don't see the point in you telling me this story. I didn't necessarily love it. I felt like it was just a way to get Michael more kills. Look, it's a slaughter fest. No, no offense to anyone who likes it. If you like it, great. I'll say this though too. Do I think Laurie is the killer in Halloween 2? I don't know. It's I'll say this. There's with most of the kills, Laurie and Michael aren't in the same place at the same time usually. So there is something to that. I do think there's some sort of psychological. The PTSD to this was way. I'll say this was really intensed up, um, which I can understand why. You know. Now, so that again, my issue, and here's my other issue with this movie too. They really, and I don't get why they did this, and I'm going to point this out with Rob's Halloween, which is next. He completely 180s his Dr. Loomis, his own character. Now, I don't know if that's where the studio interference comes in. I don't know. But I never thought that made any goddamn sense. And here's what I mean. Here's what I'm going to get to Rob's first Halloween, because it's next anyway. It's now. This is why these films will always remain low. Okay, Rob's Halloween, first Halloween, is better than the one I just mentioned. Here's why. Dr. Loomis is not really an asshole in the first one. Yeah, he retired. He writes a book about Michael. A lot of doctors write books, by the way. Okay, if this guy was just in it for the money, like Rob's trying to say in Halloween 2, if he's just in it for the money, fuck it, he's just in it for the money, right? My biggest issue, and this is what I mean by continuity, if he's just in it for the money, keep in mind in Rob's Halloween, by the time Michael grows up and before the events, before he escapes, Loomis retires. Malcolm McDowell's Loomis retires. Malcolm McDowell's Loomis retires. And there's this whole thing where after Myers escapes, they call him. Here's the thing. He still goes into town to try to stop Michael from murdering and to potentially save this girl who he really, other than he knows Michael and her are related, he doesn't know her. So if he's just about the money, why the hell is he going back into town? That's sort of my biggest issue with Rob's Halloweens. There's just continuity here in his own characters, and it's like, well, why the hell did you do that? You know, that's sort of a confliction of, okay, if you're literally making a character just about the money, then have that character, fine. But you know, don't conflict that your own character. So that's my biggest issue with Rob's Halloweens in general, the continuity of it. What's next? Yeah, this is so tough because the rest I like. I really, really do. People are gonna kill me for putting this left. Halloween 4. Look, I love Halloween 4. It's not that I'm knocking the shit out of it. Danielle Harris was amazing in this movie, right? Uh, you know, Ellie Cornell. I love how they literally, to me, this does a better job, a way fucking better job, connecting to the original two than David Gordon Green ever dreamt about connecting to the fucking first film. And I'm sorry, it does. It just does. Again, this doesn't. This is what I mean by you don't need to take a whole other film to whatever. Okay, how many films does it take to connect to one film? They literally take this one film and connect it to the past. They literally take this one film to get across Rachel Carruthers. They take this one film to get across Jamie Lloyd. So therefore, if you can do that, so could they have. If they did it, so could you have. What I mean is, David Gordon Green could have got Andy Matichek's character across in 2018. You have Howling for getting how many different characters across, not just an established character like Loomis, Bo Starr's character, Rachel, Rachel, Danielle. You get what I'm saying. They get a lot of characters across in this movie in the length of time that they do, and they do it beautifully. Really, some people say you should put 4 higher than 5. I'll get to why I put 5 higher than 4, because 5's next. I put 5 higher than a 4 because it continues the psychology of this movie. Remember, by the end, Jamie touches Michael. I love the psychology of 5. It is so fucking deep and good. 5, when I watch, I just enjoy the hell out of this movie. Danielle Harris not only steals this movie, she is this movie. I love Donald Pleasence. Um, sorry. Sorry. I love Donald Pleasence in the movie too. But Michael, Michael in this movie, I love how, yes, Danielle Harris's Jamie Lloyd can sense Michael, but Michael knows she can see what he's doing, and he's just, with each kill, he's luring her out of that. Out, like, come find me, come get me, because I want what I had. I want it back. I want my full evil back. He's slowly killing to taunt her, and I love that movie for that. It felt like he's killing just to fucking taunt her, which makes me think Michael's one sick motherfucker in Halloween 5, and I love him for it. I love him for it. So that's why I thought, and I love the Man in Black is just creepy. When I was a kid and I watched this, I thought this was the fucking devil. So 5 is next. What movies are in my top tier? Halloween Kills is next. It gets an 8.5. Really enjoyed this movie. This to me, again, my biggest issue is the loot. I didn't love how they did Loomis. I felt they should have CGI'd, used Donald Pleasant's voice. They didn't do that. I get what they're going for, practical. I don't mind practical. I just, again, there's only one Donald Pleasance, and I'm not trying to be picky with that, but that's just how I feel about that. I didn't mind the 78 flashbacks, though, as a whole. It made sense. It made sense, and that's fine. The one part they got across in this movie that they didn't in 2018 is Hawkins. I love that they did that in this movie. And again, this is part of why I can't stand 2018. I don't feel you need this whole other movie to tell Hawkins, but they do it here, and I will give them that with this one. This to me feels like more of a movie than what 2018 did. I don't know why. It just does. And here's another part too. The town itself. I love the mood of the town because evil begets evil, right? The dialogue at the hospital, evil dies tonight. Well, no, you're sort of causing your own evil to come out here. Remember what Dr. Loomis once said? We're all afraid of the dark inside ourselves. These people's darkness is coming out. Loomis, this to me, this movie lets you know why Loomis wanted to kill Michael. He did not want the darkness of Michael Myers to spread to normal humanity. Ugh. And that is the psychology of Halloween Kills to me. And I love it for it. It has great psychology, way better than 2018. Next, obviously, is Halloween Resurrection. I know people are going to kill me for putting it above Kills, but I really love this movie. You guys know the personal story I have with this movie, so here's what I really like. And now there are things I don't like about it. I point out the flaws in most of these movies, so I'll point out the flaws in this one. Number one, I don't, again, I don't mind them killing Laurie Strode, good riddance, but the way they do it. Again, there's other Halloween movies that are like that. I love Freddie Harris as a character. Buster Rhymes, I really enjoy in this movie. He's a lot of the reason I watch this movie. I enjoy the hell out of him. He's very entertaining. It takes them too long to get, because their plot is really, here's where I say their plot is interesting. It's not bad. They're setting up this house to basically scare these kids so they can get a paying audience to watch them be scared to death. Now here's the thing. They're setting up the psychology that that Myers, Freddie Harris is going to dress up as Myers and scare them, or like spook them. But at least that was my interpretation of this. Now I'll say this: you sort of get a hint of this when the camera guy's killed and he sees Michael. Oh, it's you, and then he remembers. I think he remembered. Well, Freddie isn't there. Um, it takes them too long to get Freddie Harris over, and again, that's not Buster Rhymes' fault. There are things I've mentioned they could have did with this movie, with that character to help him get it get him across. I don't think his performance is his fault. Again, his character is a bit greedy too, but again, where his character won me over, and again, this takes too long to establish. After most are dead, and he's to the realization, oh shit, people are being murdered because he probably saw the girl's body in the fucking garage. He goes back in that house, and he never had to do that. That's why I will always defend Freddie Harris because he did not have to go back. I don't mind the martial arts sequence. I actually enjoyed the hell out of it. Sure, it was a bit over the top, but I like it nonetheless. Um, 20, 2002's Halloween Resurrection. Did they plant all that stuff in there? Yeah, yeah. They planted most of that stuff in there. Um, I'll say that they planted pretty much all that stuff in there: the knives, the scrapbooks. They other than what was in the basement where he had the tunnels, they didn't do that one. Um, but so I really found that interesting. Again, I enjoyed Resurrection as a whole. Again, I only have really two big issues with it. The rest I love. Um, Next on my list, obviously Halloween 6. This is the first Halloween I saw in theaters. Did I mind the cult? No. Again, I have no real issue with this movie. It is just fun to watch. Michael is brutal in this movie. He stalks. He's violent. Daniel Farrens, if you're watching this video, man, you are the man for writing this, for making this. This movie is still awesome to this day. I enjoy the hell out of it. I can't say enough good things about it. Paul Rudd, Marion Hagen, who I love in this movie. One of my favorite female protagonists in horror in the Halloween franchise ever is that woman. And again, I just enjoy the hell out of this movie. Again, you're not going to hear too many complaints about the rest of these films. Um, and I don't have an issue with the cult, but here's what I'll say: do I buy that the cult was controlling Michael? No, no, I don't. If you're controlling somebody, then that somebody isn't gonna murder you. Yeah, yeah. And in the theatrical version, he does murder them. So I don't think the cult ever, ever, sorry about that, ever had control of Michael. I don't buy that. But other than that, I love the movie. It's an amazing movie to watch. I love the violence. Love the heel turn of Doctor Wynn. It made sense. A great twist. Um, Next is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. I love this movie. I have nothing bad to say about it. It's a beautiful fucking movie. Um, great movie to watch on Halloween. Great to watch I watch all the Halloweens and I go in order, and I always love watching these films. So this movie just is a lot of fun. I have no complaints about it at all. I can't. Next to the same thing, Halloween 2. You know, the original Halloween 2. The twist is amazing. And I'll say this: to me, still the best twist in horror history. Finding out Laurie Strode is Michael Myers' sister is fucking holy shit moment ever. Um, to me, look, I really the worst thing that happened to Karen is she gets killed. She gets killed. That's what happens. Um, that's not really a shock. I mean, there's been how many deaths and kills with this. That twist of Laurie being his sister is still all time just like holy shit. And that leads me to the original Halloween, John Carpenter's Halloween. just a beautiful movie to watch. I have no complaints about it. The score is amazing. The actors, the characters, just an amazing movie. So that's my ranking. I'm sorry, I didn't do an actual rant, but that's my ranking, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. Again, my throat's hurting, so I can't really scream or yell. Um, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys here probably in 2 days. I'm gonna do Birdwatcher. My where I do a story where I'm not writing anything. I just tell you a story. So I'm gonna do Birdwatcher here in about 2 days. I hope you guys have a great night.